with us tonight, Stephanie Gregson. She is California Department of Education Chief Deputy Superintendent. Dr. Gregson, it's good to have you tonight. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So July or August restart, that would be earlier than a September restart?
Well, a lot of our schools in California actually do start in August, some in the beginning, some in the middle, and some at the end.
Interesting. How has distance learning been going?
Distance learning for 6.2 million students across a very large state is always a complex approach to take. And so one of the main issues we've been working through is our digital divide, ensuring that all of our students have access to devices and broadband. Our state superintendent, Tony Thurman, created an ad hoc committee on closing the digital divide. It's a task force that is really working with internet service providers, our legislative members, to work through how to decrease the barriers for our students to have access to devices and broadband. We know that broadband access needs to flow like electricity for all of our students to engage in a distance learning approach.
Such a challenge. Are there some children within your district who don't have iPads, laptops, desktops, things they need to communicate?
Yes, we have over 300,000 students without devices and over 290,000 students without access to broadband across the state. And that is why we are working so diligently to get devices into their hands and to really send that message to internet service providers to work with our low-income families to decrease the barriers for that access.
I'm trying to wonder how you have such a monumental task as you look towards the new school year of even thinking about how you'll send your kids to school, how we'll all send our kids back to school through transportation, how teachers will be thinking about that, what classrooms will look like. How are you tackling all of that?
So first and foremost, we're working with our partners. We're working with the governor's office, the California State Board of Education, all of our education partners, and really looking at what are the questions that we need to answer in order to be able to open schools safely, because that is first and foremost for us, is to open schools in a safe manner where students, families, and teachers feel comfortable walking onto campus and being able to learn.
What's the average class size in the state? Do you know that number offhand?
It ranges from elementary grades to having 20 students to high school classes that may have 40 students. It really is a range.
Are you thinking at this point about how you'd be able to distance students from one another inside a classroom?
Well, I think we're all know that kindergartners and first graders will have a really hard time staying 6 feet away from each other. So we really have to think through what that would look like in order for them to be safe at school and for their teachers as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the teachers. How are they coping with all of this, and how do they feel about a return to school? What would you do to ensure their safety?
Our teachers are amazing. They pivoted on a dime to be able to provide connections and opportunities for their students to continue learning. And they miss their students. As a former teacher, that student-teacher connection was always first and foremost in my mind, and it is for our teachers across the state. So they are anxious to see their students again, but also want to ensure that everyone's safe. That includes themselves and the students.
We wish you well. Big task ahead of you. Dr. Stephanie Gregson, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you so much.